It's Talk Point again on Lagos Television, and we are very, very glad to have you join us again. My name is Omololu Rosonwo. Today on Talk Point, we'll first be looking at the Free Nnamdi Kanu movement. This morning, we know that some groups led by Omowole Sowore in Abuja and also in Lagos, they say they're protesting that Nnamdi Kanu should be released. We also know that Nnamdi Kanu is also facing trial on some terrorism charges in Abuja. Over 7 years ago, he was arrested on this charge, and of course, he's been in and out of the court, and the case is still in court. But they are saying that he should be released, since the president is also granting prerogative of pardon to some people, that he should also be part of those that will be released. That is what we'll be looking at this morning. First, before we go to the other topic that we're facing, I have in the studio with me Nelson Kujumi, who will also be analyzing that with me. Nelson, nice to have you on Top Point.
Thank you for having me. Good day, Nigerians.
Yes, this issue of Free Nnamdi Kanu is coming again. The movement started early this morning, and we saw what happened. In Abuja, it created chaos. There was traffic everywhere in Abuja. And also in Lagos, we also had some show of force to say, look, you must maintain peace. You must not hold that in Lagos because we want peace in Lagos. Could you just react to some of this?
Yes, thank you very much. It's unfortunate and saddening that politicians, when it's election season, they are politicians. Immediately the elections are over, they become activists or freedom fighters. And it's because they recognize that there are some willing Nigerians who are gullible, who can be taken for a ride, who would not see that these are double, faced individuals. What the people in Abuja went through today is a very sad, and unfortunate.
Yes, we just saw the video. I'm sure the producer can also still play the video going for us
where
to see.
People,
yes, you can see that video.
Yes, where people were logged in traffic log jam because of the security cordon put in place to ensure that law and order is not, is not violated. And you talk about Lagos as well. When you go to most of the hotspots or areas where you assume they could, try to rear their heads, the security operatives were also there. In fact, when I was leaving my house this morning, there was this heavy traffic jam in my area. That's the Agege axis, and I was wondering what was the cause. I thought maybe a vehicle had broken down on the way, only for me to get to the junction, and I saw there was a detachment of policemen. Same with Ikeja roundabout on that.
Yes, we also have the clip of that. I'm sure the producer, one of our reporters, called Alstrop, was out there, and I'm sure the producer will also give us the clips of what happened here in Lagos. The police also had a show of force. So we can see them right there moving from the police command headquarters in Ikeja, around Lagos to actually tell you Nigerians that there is peace and tranquility in Lagos, and they should also go about their normal duties. Nelson.
Yes, I think it's a good one by the police, because the responsibility of the police is to maintain law and order, to ensure that people want to go about their business can go about their business without any fear of molestation. We are still, having the hangover from the NSAS protests of 2020, where lives were lost, where public and private properties were destroyed, where limbs were cut short, where limbs were, amputated and what have you. So I think what the police have done with regards to what we saw in Lagos here is not to leave anything to chance, to make it known to all and sundry that, look, so long as you are not disturbing public peace, public order, public safety, you can go about your lawful duty. But if you want to take the law, for granted, you will pay dearly for it. And so I commend the Lagos State Police Command for coming out to assure Lagosians that, look, and up to this moment, everywhere has remained calm. Businesses are open, people are going about on the road. Children went to school this morning as early as possible. So I think we must commend ourselves in Lagos. But what happened in Abuja is depressing, that people have to go through that pains. Well, that is part of the sacrifice we have to make here, in a democracy or in a society where there are divergent views and people with different interests that want to take advantage of the situation of the people for their political capital, as well as their subversive tendencies, which must be condemned, and Nigerians must stay away from them.
Yes, I'm wondering why it's coming up 5 years, exactly 5 years after the NSAS. It happened October 20, I can still recollect, 2020. Yes, why is this coming up? I know that the CP also had something to say. We'll listen to the CP, then we'll now talk on that.
We learned that some group of people are protesting in some part of the country, and we want Lagos to know that there's no any single protest anywhere in Lagos State. But outside that, we have made proper deployment to all the identifiable points where there used to be protesters coming out in the past. We have deployed to under bridge here in Ikeja that I'm talking to you. Is a notorious place where protesters used to come and hang on and move to other locations. As you can see, there's no any protester in sight here. We deployed to Maryland. We call it deployed to Lekki Toll Gate. We made deployment to Ojota. We made deployment to Ganifa Ami Park. We made deployment to virtually all the nook and cranny of this, where you take laws into your hand by calling out people to protest. That is not more protest. That is, you want to cause a problem for other members of the public from accessing their means of livelihood, and for people who are going to school, people who have lawful businesses and other things to do, for medicals in hospital, people who have to travel out. We should ensure that all doesn't happen in Lagos. Throughout Lagos State, there's nowhere that any single protester is on site. We get CTREP early, and we are going to touch all those areas equally to see for ourselves. But so far so good. There has not been any disturbance of mobility, either vehicular movements or people's movement anywhere in Lagos State.
Yes, we just saw that's the shot of the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, Moshood Jimoh, also talking to the Lagosians, giving them assurance that there's peace and tranquility in Lagos State. Nelson, before we had that interview, I was asking why 5 years after, why October 20? Why is this coming up again? Because if you look at the experience of that NSAS in 2020, it is not a good experience for Lagos and even Nigeria, because so many properties and lives were lost.
Yes, if you look at it, it's like a political calendar that has been marked by disgruntled and displeased political actors. When the protest took place in 2020, we all saw that it was the anger, the carryover from those who lost the 2019 general election. And since then, they have made it a point of duty that every October around, the NSAS protest in 2020 took place between the 12th to the 21st of October. So they have made it a tradition now. That was why even in 2023, immediately they lost the election again, there was this slogan of revolution now.
Yeah.
Somebody who lost an election, if you didn't believe in the democratic rights of Nigerians to determine their fate, you would have not participated. You participated in an election, you lost, and instead of you to accept your defeat and go and prepare for the next round of election, every circle you are coming up with one protest under one guise or the other. So I think the authorities should also, the security apparatus should take this to mind and make preparation come next year, because it is not unnatural or unexpected that they will try the same feat come 2026. Maybe in 2027, if they are able to win, they are able to come out victorious at the polls, maybe then we'll see an end to it. But be rest assured that so long as the Nigerian people continue to reject them at the polls, so long as they will continue to, attempt to incite and cause, a breakdown of law and order.
We're going to call for a break now. When we return, we will be looking at the position of the National Assembly on the gaming and lottery, and also the position of Lagos State on this matter. Stay with us. We'll be back. Yes, sometime last week, the Lagos State government had a press conference, specifically by the Attorney General of Lagos State, Pedro, and Lawal Pedro, he also spoke on some issues that has to do with gaming and lottery in Lagos State. His position is that it is not on the exclusive list and is also not on the concurrent list, and that it should be an issue that will be done by the state, which is going to be, which is also on a residual list. That's what we'll be also looking at this moment. Nelson, let me quickly ask you. There was a press conference you also had yesterday on this issue. Yeah. Why would you hold a press conference in that light when you know that is an issue? Is it because you are a watchdog, or is it that you are a civil society person?
No, we are a coalition of civil society, non-governmental organizations, self-determination group, as well as public interest organizations who are, societal watchdog. And we know that the National Lottery Act 2005 was declared null and void by the Supreme Court on 22nd of November 2024, when in 2008, in 2005, the National Assembly enacted the law for National Lottery and Gaming Act. In 2008, the Lagos State government and 22 other states went to court challenging the legality of the National Assembly to legislate on an item that is not on the exclusive list for the information and education of our viewers. Exclusive lists are matters in which only the federal government have authority to make laws. Concurrent lists are matters on which both the federal government and the state government have the authority under the Constitution to make laws. And where there is a conflict between the federal law and the state law, the federal law takes supreme. But in the residual list, these are matters that is exclusively within the purview of the state government. So when they went to court in 2008, for 16 years, the matter dragged on. Lagos State and 22 other states. In November 2024, that was just last year, the Supreme Court ruled that the National Assembly had no powers to make laws with regards to gaming and lottery for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That their powers to make law for gaming and lottery is only for FCT. That the powers to make laws for lottery and gaming is the exclusive responsibility of the State's House of Assembly. So the Supreme Court declared that law, that act of 2005, illegal, null and void. And the Supreme Court restrained the federal government or its agencies. The National Assembly is quite aware of this. That is Supreme Court judgment. We all know that the Supreme Court judgment in this country becomes a law once it is, made. Yeah. Nobody can interpret.
As the apex body.
It's the apex law in the land.
Yeah.
So if the Supreme Court has ruled on a matter, it amounts to legislative rascality and lawlessness for the National Assembly to venture into an area that the Supreme Court has already decided on. If the National Assembly is in a hurry that they want to rewrite our Constitution, they know the route to take. You cannot rewrite the Constitution of Nigeria within the province of the House of Representatives and the Senate. It's an act of illegality. And that was why we came out yesterday and point blankly told them that, look, under the Nigerian Constitution, because we're a country governed by laws, under the Constitution, you are in the National Assembly today because there's a Constitution of Nigeria that gives you the power to be elected and to sit in the House to legislate for Nigerians. So if you are sworn oath to uphold the law, how come in another breath, the same law, you want to rape it? And that was why we came out and said, no, we will not allow the Senate to toe the line of illegality and legislative recklessness that the House of Representatives have done, because the House of Representatives had passed a resolution for a new National Lottery Act. The bill is now before the Senate for concurrence, resolution.
Approval, yeah.
So we are now telling the Senate, don't follow this illegal and unconstitutional route that the House of Representatives has taken, because the House of Representatives cannot be greater than our Constitution, neither the Senate. So if they have any problem with that judgment of the Supreme Court, it is for them to put in process mechanism, for the amendment of that law, so that the power to make laws with regards to lottery and gaming will now be vested in them. But as we speak today, that judgment of the Supreme Court is still valid and subsisting.
And that is binding.
And it is binding on either the executive, the legislature, or the general public.
Okay, I'm not going to hold forth for the National Assembly, but don't you think is a way of saying, look, let us look into some of these areas and let's see if we can also increase our IGR and monitor?
Even if you want to increase your IGR or whatever, I said it earlier on, we are a country governed by laws. It behoves on the National Assembly to recognize that whatever steps it takes that is in conflict with the provisions of the law will not stand. It is like pouring water into a basket. That is what the national, but we will not allow them to waste taxpayers' money, to waste taxpayers' time, to waste taxpayers' resources, going on a wild goose chase. The National Assembly must be guided if they are being misguided. And that is the role we are playing at the level of civil society. That look, under the laws of Nigeria today, the National Assembly does not have the powers. All areas of the economy today or the society that the National Assembly make laws on, those are areas that is entrusted on them by the Constitution. So you cannot venture into an area that you don't have the powers. So, like we say in law, you cannot build something on nothing. So what is the authority you have to make laws for gaming and lottery, when the Supreme Court has already ruled that gaming and lottery is the exclusive preserve of the state's House of Assembly? So 22 states, Lagos State and 22 states have gone to court, and the Supreme Court, which is the apex court in the land, has given a judgment, and that judgment is unquestionable. So we are telling the Senate to toe the line of responsibility and respectability, because the National Assembly is a place for serious business. It's not for joke. It's not a theater, cinema house. It's a place where the fate of 220 million Nigerians, as well as those are in the diaspora, are decided for good governance. So we will not allow anybody to toy with the destiny of these 220 million people. So, and that is why we are calling on the Senate to uphold the laws of the land by refraining from committing illegality and unconstitutionality like the House of Representatives has done. And we are demanding a public apology from the House of Representatives for doing that, infamous routes.
I listened to the Commissioner for Justice in Lagos State, the Attorney General Lawal Pedro, and he also spoke on some issues that has to do with online and offline. Nigerians also need that explanation so that we'll get it clear.
Whether it is offline or online or by line, the truth of the matter and the facts, the meat of the matter, and the fact is that you don't have the powers to venture into this area. It's not about, there's no playing games about it. That the 68 items listed on the exclusive list as well as the concurrent list, that this matter does not fall within that purview. It's not there. That the only place where the National Assembly can make laws for gaming and lottery is the Federal Capital Territory. There's no doubt about that. Nobody is arguing about that.
So
but
yeah,
you cannot
they can make laws
for Federal Capital Territory.
Yes.
Because as we see today, the National Assembly is the lawmaking body for the Federal Capital Territory. That is why when the Minister of the FCT prepares his budget, he takes it to the National Assembly for approval through Mr. President. So it is not that the FCT does not have any other legislature than the National Assembly. So the Constitution gives them the powers to make laws for FCT Abuja with regards to gaming and lottery. But for states, the Constitution has taken that powers away from them. It has given it exclusively to the state. So they cannot now attempt illegally to usurp the responsibility of the states. It must not be allowed, except we have a law to that regard. And that is where we stand on it.
Yes, that's the position of the civil society,
of
the law, and
yes.
also of
the civil society.
towing the path
Yes,
of the law.
Of the law, absolutely.
Yes, is there a way there can be a kind of moral suasion now to say, look, the law is there. How do we resolve it? Don't go there. Or is there a way that such can
No,
shift?
there's no two ways about it, except if you want to degenerate into a banana republic. If you are concerned that you want to venture into that area of national life, you know what to do. It is for you to begin a process of amending the Constitution to take it away from the states. And you and I know the process of amending the Constitution. You must obtain 2/3 majority in both House of Representatives and the Senate. You must obtain 2/3 majority of the 36 states of the Federation.
House of Assembly.
House of Assembly. So if you are not prepared to go through what the law has stated, then you are somebody who is promoting anarchy. Because the law is for orderliness, for peace and prosperity. So if the law has stated we must all work in this way, if we want to work this way, this is the route to take. Somebody cannot be clever than all of us, also a group of people. The law is for all Nigerians, and that was why I said the ruling by the Supreme Court is binding on all interests in Nigeria, both the government and the governed. Whether you are a member of the executive or you are the executive as a body or the legislature as an institution. The legislature as an institution is a sacred institution in a democracy. It's a bastion. They are the bedrock. In a military dictatorship, you still have the executive, military juntas. You still have the judiciary operating, even though they are armed strong. But you don't have the legislature. You don't have somebody representing you and I. The National Assembly we have a representative from my local government here in Lagos. And we have a representative representing that woman who is fishing in Eket. Also there, overseeing our interest in the National Assembly, where mine is over, and we have them across the 36 states. So if we have a body like that, and that body is guided by law, that body is the creation of law, why must we open our eyes and allow them to rape the same law? Because if we open our eyes and allow them to rape that law, it's an invitation to anarchy. And you and I know what anarchy portends for any society. So it must be condemned.
Okay, as we round up now, what's your advice now in this situation?
My advice is simple, that the House of Representatives must retrace its step and withdraw that resolution and apologize to Nigerians. And also to the Senate, that the Senate must refrain from venturing into legislative consideration of that illegal and unconstitutional bill. And to us Nigerians, it is for us to realize that Nigeria belongs to all of us. We have no other country. It is our duty and responsibility to ensure that Nigeria moves to the next level. Thank you.
Yes, on that note, we have come to the end of Talk Points. 767 and 112 are still the lines to always call in times of emergency. Stay out of trouble. Ensure that you do what is right. I've been speaking with Nelson Ekujumi. He is a public affairs analyst and also a civil society activist. Thank you so much, Nelson, for being on Talk Point.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yes, on that note, we have come to the end of Talk Point. 767 and 112 are still the lines to always call in times of emergency. Stay out of trouble and do what is right to make Nigeria, and indeed Lagos and also other states in Nigeria, great again. I am Omololu Rosanwo. See you some other time.